Hey everyone, welcome to Juicy Things podcast. I'm your host Jacob Feliz.
And I'm Heather Maldonado.
And welcome to Juicy Things, the podcast where we help couples find their passion to spread their influence. Today we are talking about feeling stuck and 4 lessons you need to hear today to maybe fix that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the idea of being stuck in life and what we mean by that. So if you feel stuck, a lot of the time we're talking about feeling like you're in a cycle, you're not growing, you kind of have the same mundane tasks and your week looks like copy pasted every single week, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like you already know, right? So the weekend, you're looking forward to the weekend. You cannot wait because you hate your job so much, or maybe you like your job, but still, right? You're like, okay, finally, weekend. Watch TV, scroll Netflix, go on TikTok, and then you're like, okay, Monday's coming up, back to work, and that's your life for the next 40 years.
Yeah, because, we tend to avoid discomfort. We don't like putting ourselves in uncertain situations. And so that's what leads to this life where we're very comfortable, right? And that's where we get stuck. So what we have to do here is you have to take a second to look inside yourself. And that's what we're going to talk about now. So these are 4 lessons that you need to hear today so that you can start getting yourself unstuck.
Yeah, so I think starting off with the first thing is to remember that you have the ability to choose. You always have the ability to choose. No matter what situation you're in, you can do something about that. And it may be harder for some people, it may be easier for others, but you always have the ability to choose. And I mean that by, like, let's say after work, right? You got off, it was a hard day at work. Maybe for someone else, it was an easy day at work, depending on the job. And no matter what, though, you have free time, free quote unquote free time, but that should be the time where you're trying to work on yourself, even though it's not free time, So can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I think we really get stuck in the sense that we want to blame outside circumstances, right? So that's why the first step is about realizing that you have the power of choice, because a lot of the times you want to say, oh, well, it's the job, it's my life, it's the fact that I'm in a relationship. It's really easy to blame your circumstances and say, like, that's the reason I am where I am. But that's not true, right? You have to take accountability and responsibility for yourself. So remember, no, you have the opportunity to choose every single day. If you wanted to hop on a plane across the world today, if you wanted to quit your job today because it's making you unhappy, I'm not saying to do those things right away, right? Disclaimer. But I'm just saying, like, don't lie to yourself and say that you can't choose, because every single day that you wake up, you do have the opportunity to choose.
My favorite one is that I don't have enough time for this. Like, okay, so can you watch, instead of watching Netflix for 3 hours, can you maybe watch it for 2 hours and then put 1 hour aside to focus on yourself? Like, why not invest in yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, you only have yourself, and 1 hour is definitely enough to learn something. If you do 1 hour every day of something, you will eventually be better than most people who do nothing about it, right?
Yeah, and it's also the idea of not waiting for someone else or not waiting for the right time, right? Like, we forget that, we're all gonna die someday. Like, we really are, right? And so we think today, like, oh, we have so much time. We have so much time ahead. But you really don't know. You really don't know when your last day is, right? So why are you not living every day thinking, like, I have a finite amount of time to be this person that I am, right? To have this life that I do have, right? So why am I not trying to make the best of it every single day? Like, that's how you should feel every day. You should be motivated to be like, I don't know when that day is going to happen, but I know that I want to take advantage of this life right here, right now. So the very first thing that you can do is our second lesson, which is to stop doing what others want you to do and focus on what you want to do.
Yeah, it's following your intuition. And I feel like so many times we lose what that is because we go through this way of growing up where we go to school, at least in Western world, is you go to school, you do what they want you to learn, right? And then you go to the next level and the next level, and then you end up in college and they just throw you in there and you're like, well, what do I do now? You guys were telling me what to do all these years and suddenly I don't know what to do. Like, you're telling me now I get to pick. So I think we lose that intuition growing up a lot of the times, and we have to find that again. And it's as easy as, like, really thinking about what you feel like doing. Like, what do you want to eat? You know, you
It can
want
be
to
as
eat.
simple as that,
Yeah, you
right?
want to eat a pizza? Go eat a pizza. Actually, go out and go get that pizza because that's
Or
gonna
waking up in the
rebuild.
morning in your style, right?
Yeah, it's gonna rebuild your intuition, picking what you want to wear in the morning.
Yeah, and on that topic, so maybe you're like, oh, I don't really know what I do want to do. But so the first thing you could ask yourself is, what don't I like doing? Right? What am I doing right now that I dread doing this every single day? I hate that I have to perform this task every single day, right? So instead focus, what would I rather do with my time instead, right? What could I be doing that makes me feel more happy? So maybe that's, yeah, again,
Yeah, and
finding
I
your
think
intuition
that
is
goes into finding your flow, really, and that's
your
a whole
flow.
nother video we can talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna talk more about like delving into your intuition because that's definitely this step we could stay in here a long time
Yeah,
just
we can
because
stay
that's
here
also
forever.
what we're focusing on too, like connecting with things that used to make you happy. What did you love to do before people told you no and that you shouldn't do that and you need to be realistic, right?
Yeah, like you can't make money doing that. You know, whatever. Like, what do they
Mhm.
know? Did they do it? Probably not.
Yeah, so on to our next lesson is to start taking action. Start taking action. Even if it's a step in the dark, it's still a step moving forward.
Yeah, not see. There's the thing. Not doing anything is still doing something. So choosing to not do anything is a lot worse than doing something you're unsure of. You know, even if it's something small, like, oh, should I go and meet this new friend? Go out and meet that new friend instead of being like, maybe I'll just stay home. Like, you don't even know what opportunities can come from that.
Yeah, and we also really love the analogy of like a garden, right? So if you have a garden and you tend to it, it will grow, right? And it'll continue to grow and thrive. But if you don't care for a garden, right, is it just going to freeze in time and just stay exactly the way it is? No, right? Weeds will grow and it'll actually start to decompose. And same thing can happen to you too, right? If you don't make the effort to continue to grow and cultivate yourself, right? And cultivate your strengths, then you think that you're just going to stay the same, but you're not. Not taking action is actually an action of itself that's taking you backwards if you don't notice that and you don't make that realization, right? Then you're not moving forward. You're actually moving backwards.
Yeah, and I want to like ask you. So, what's like one thing you can say that you really like? You know, you took a step in the dark, or
Yeah.
try to take action towards.
Yeah, I would definitely say like for me, I used to not speak my opinion whenever it was contrary to the person that I was talking to, right? And that after doing some internal work like for myself, I was like, I think my higher self would speak her opinion, right? She would say what she wanted to say, even if the person she was talking to had a different opinion than her. And so I started doing that. The action that I would do is, you know, the person that I imagine myself to be, what would she do right now? She would speak her opinion. You know, even if it is different, that doesn't mean that that person's not going to like you because you have a different opinion, right? And saying what you want to say is better than staying quiet. Like it could lead to really, thriving conversation too. So that's definitely something for me. What about something for you where you've taken a step in the dark?
Yeah, for me, I think it was. So I'm from South Florida, and I thought as soon as I graduate, I'm gonna move to Austin, which is where I'm at now, which is
That's
where
a
we
good
do the
one.
show. And I was like, you know what? I have nothing. This is what I mean by taking the risk, like, and just following your gut. My gut was like, let me move to Austin, right? All I had was $5,000 saved up. I didn't even have a job lined up. I just knew that if I go to Austin, I'll be okay. Like, worst case scenario, I run out of money and I move back with my parents. Sure, whatever, you know. That what's the harm in that? At least I tried, and look what came out of it. You know, I'm here right now, and I'm passing this my story to you guys, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's a great example. I love that too. Like you literally went halfway across the country too, just with the idea of like, why not, right?
Why
I don't
not?
know where it's gonna take me.
I mean, I don't have kids. I didn't.
Like,
I
why
wasn't
not?
with you at the time.
Now's
I wasn't
now's
with
the
you.
time to do it.
So I thought that was a great time.
Yeah, and that actually goes on to the next topic, which is the next lesson is always look for opportunities or else try to create them yourself. So like right now we've really been watching the Kanye
Oh, it's
documentary.
So good.
Yeah, it's really inspirational for sure. But one thing we've learned from Ye is that he always goes out there and makes his own opportunities, right? Like he's relentless.
I
really
mean,
is.
there's so many times where he wasn't waiting for anyone to listen to his music. He just knew that he was better than most people. which is good mindset to have, honestly. And he would take his tapes. If you haven't watched it, he would take his tapes. He would go to the producers and just play his music, whether they asked
Just
him or
straight
not.
up like in the
He
office.
was just like, they were working. He's like, hey, you need to listen to this while they're on phone calls, whatever. He's rapping it live to them. And I think that's such a good like example of someone who is making opportunity instead of waiting for it to come to him.
Yeah, exactly. Like even when the odds are against you, you have to remember like this is part of that taking action, right? Like what can you do? How can you seek outside resources outside of yourself? Like if you don't know, where is there opportunity to be mentored, be taught, right? Like where can you connect with other people, either like directly in your life, or where can you find a community of people that are similar to you? Because if you think you've probably thought this before, like I'm the only one that feels this way, I'm the only one who thinks this way, right? Well, maybe you haven't made the effort to go out and find people that are like you, because believe it or not, there will be people out there will be communities out there, and they're looking for people like you to connect with, something that only you know.
Yeah, you're never the only one at anything. I mean, it's really rare to be the only one. You may feel like that, but as you start to look for more people that feel the same way, of course, there's always going to be someone that feels the same way you do. I think it's so hard to find a mentor, or people don't know how to find a mentor, and it's as easy as seeking one. Like it all comes down to seeking, and looking. If you play volleyball all day, you're actively trying to get better at that. So why not seek and actively try to find a mentor? You will find one if you really apply yourself to it.
Yeah, seeking out opportunities, or on the topic of how you think, oh, I'm the only one that feels this way. I think when we joined the workforce too, that was the thing that kind of struck us, was like, well, a lot of people are pretty miserable in their jobs, right? But why is this so normalized, right? To just stay,
accept that. Yeah, why accept that? Why have to stay at a job you don't like and work 40 years until you retire? Why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why is that? You have to create more opportunities for yourself and go out there and find the resources that will make you uniquely happy, right? And that could always change. Like you're always going to continue to grow and change too. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why AA meetings are so good, is because they don't make you feel like you're alone. That's the main reason why they work so well.
Right? Like regardless of what it is out there that you might think that you're the
only. And it really does make you feel a lot better when you can find people who relate to you.
Like even in the gaming community too. Like
I'm surprised. The gaming community is awesome.
Anime is so mainstream nowadays. Like in the gaming community, I remember back in the day, it would be a rarity to have people that you knew that were also extremely into gaming too. And now I think because of that connection, that community has been allowed to thrive, right?
Yeah, so even finding people that are no one likes this game. I know no one liked this game growing up. And then you'll find people that are that's the only game they focus on.
Yeah.
So very cool. So we just want to go over these again. So remember, if you're feeling stuck, and there's 4 lessons. So one is remembering that you have the ability to choose. You always have the ability. You can do that, right? You have a choice. And 2
is make sure that you're focusing on what you want to do, not what anybody else wants you to do.
Mm-hmm. The 3rd one is to take action. Sitting around, not doing anything isn't going to get you anywhere. Trust me, no one's going to come to you and be like, come on, you got to do it. No one's going to do that. Maybe your mom or your dad might, but besides that, no one's coming.
And the last one's make sure you're creating opportunities or looking out for opportunities for yourself.
Yeah, really finding those opportunities and just trying to get your foot in the door, whatever it is.
And that's all we've got.
Yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this first official episode, and we have many more to come. So if you guys really enjoyed this, please be sure to rate the podcast and download it and share it with everyone. Share it with your
everyone.
Mom.
If you could take a screenshot and tag us, post it on Instagram or something like that, we would love to reshare your story too. Yeah. So thank you.
Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you later.
See you in the next one.